He spake and led the way, and they went with him. And the henchman hung the loud lyre on the pin, and took the hand of Democritus, and led him forth from the hall, and guided him by the same way, whereby those others, the chiefs of the Phaeacians, had gone to gaze upon the games. So they went on their way to the place of assembly, and with great company innumerable, and many a noble youth stood up to play. There rose Acronius, and Ocyalus, and Elatrius, and Anchialus, and Aretmius, and Pontius, and Proeus Thun, and Amphialus, son of Polyneus, son of Tecton, and likewise Euryalus, the peer of murderous Ares, the son of Naubolus, who in face and form was the goodliest of all the Phaeacians, next to noble Laodamas. And there stood up the 3 sons of noble Alcinous, Laodamas, and Halius, and godlike Cleitonius. And behold, these all first tried the issue in the foot race. From the very start they strained at utmost speed, and altogether they flew forward swiftly, raising the dust along the plain. And noble Cleitonius was far the swiftest of them all in running, and by the length of the furrow that mules cleave in a fallow field, so far did he shoot to the front, and came to the crowd by the lists, while those others were left behind. Then they made trial of strong wrestling, and here in turn Euryalus excelled all the best, and in leaping Amphilaus was far the foremost, and Elatrius in weight throwing, and in boxing Laodamas, the good son of Alcinous. Now, when they had all taken their pleasure in the games, Laodamas, son of Alcinous, spake among them. Folks, I know I have an explicit tag on this show, mostly for thematic elements that this story deals with. I want you to be informed. If you're going to listen to this with children, with other people who might find certain things objectionable. And so I just want to give you this little preface right here to prep you, prepare you, pause it if you have to, turn the volume down, put your headphones in, whatever you need to sturdy your soul for what I'm about to say. Okay, are you ready? This passage. It. Folks, it was almost as if Homer listened to my first episode of this book and was like, this motherfucker, I'm going to make his life the hardest it has ever been. I'm not even going to try to pronounce all of these names again. I just want to count them, including the ones we already know. Okay, Democritus. We got one. I'm going to include Phaeacians in there as well because I'm still insecure about how to say that one. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 different friggin' names that I had to excruciatingly look up pronunciations. I'm not even joking. You're probably listening to about 5 minutes of a show. I've spent 45 minutes just coming up with pronunciations, not even reading the passage. Okay, this is not at all insightful to the story, to Greek mythology, to ancient texts, to Homer. Just pure id today. Out of my experience, I do not anticipate using language like this moving forward, but serious to God, that nonsense. If I am going to just do my job here today and try to tie this to something that we can use to better understand what is happening or some insight about this poem being an oral tradition, here's my thought. And again, I'm not the expert on this, but I'm salty today. Is that we've talked a little bit about the meter of this, right? Dactylic hexameter. And what that is basically a beat pattern. So hexameter means that each line of a poem, though we're reading the prose, has 6 units. They're called feet. Hex equals 6, so there's 6. Dactylic is the rhythm. It's long, short, short in terms of the syllables of that line. So if you're saying it out loud, there's long, short, short. Da, da, da. Dum, da, da. Dum, da, da. Dum, da, da. And then each line, of course, as I said, would be 6 beats across. So that sounds like this in syllables. Dum, da, da. 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 And that's it. And this passage today is dum, da, da for sure. So locking the dactylic hexameter in, I think the listing of these names, when viewed through the oral performance of it, is something akin to that hip-hop metaphor I made before. Now, I don't mean to be eye-rolly just because I'm a white guy that originated from Detroit, but if you look at someone like Eminem, he plays with stuff like this all the time. I choose him because I think he's a good example of it, not because he's a white rapper. There are plenty of other incredible rappers who do this, but if you look at the lyrics of one of his songs like Shake That, especially the first verse of that, which I can't recite on air because the lyrics are copyrighted, but it follows a very specific beat rhythm, and the words that come out follow the meter of those lines of the lyrics. And so if we're thinking about this sitting in the audience, this would probably have been like a bit of a spectacle. This would be like one of those moments in the musical where it breaks down and you see the raw lyrical talent, the raw, flow of the performer delivering something that is dizzying to those in the audience, to those of us watching it. I don't know how audiences reacted during the time, but like this, if I were thinking of it in modern terms, would be one of those like moments within a song or a performance that gets a applause line because the audiences recognize how difficult it is to deliver that accurately and without missing a beat. If Homer, being the blind oral poet that he was, has to go through every single one of those names without forgetting who they are, what order they come in, keeping the genealogy in his head when it breaks down to who's the son of who. Son of Polyneus, son of Tecton, and likewise your peer of murderous Ares, the son of Nobilus. Like, Jesus Christ, how do you memorize all of that? One thing I haven't read yet, and I'd be curious, is like, if Homer was blind, could he have been writing this for other people to perform? Everything that I've encountered so far is just kind of assumed that author equals performer. But I guess you would assume that if he's blind, he's not able to write, at least in those days. But is that to say he's not dictating to someone else? I mean, I guess also resources. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on academic stuff here because clearly there are experts out there. Okay. I'm going to end this one here. This passage really made me salty. I'm not going to lie. You've heard it. You heard it out of my mouth, and I apologize to all of you. That's not how I want to be on this show. My God. I'm a little nervous now going into tomorrow's episode. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't want another list of names like that. But we have an awkward pause between passages here as Laodamas is about to speak amongst the youths playing these games. So join me here tomorrow when we find out what Laodamas has to say. Until then, I am so sorry. Odyssey is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. The show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Odyssey, written by Homer. Theme song by Neuroflow. You can support this show and other shows like it by going to patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.